Britain's got a problem, a big problem. I'm going to tell you what it is. This is real English. Hi there, Adam here from the Daily ESOL. What's our big problem? We're just too big. That's the problem. Have been for a long time. Overweight, heavy. People think about the UK and they think about people who are just eating too much. And this has been the case for a long time, sadly. So we're going to talk about that today in the lesson. We're going to do a vocabulary task, which is going to give you the polite ways to talk about this. Because if you say the wrong word to the wrong person, it could cause offense, and nobody wants to do that. So that's what we're going to look at in vocabulary. We're going to do a reading, which will be all about the facts, the information, all about obesity in the UK. And we're going to watch a video, which hopefully is proving that we're going to have a solution in the future to our weight problem. And I'll give you a bit of grammar. We're going to do some grammar. We're going to do a writing. I'll give you a writing task all about this. It's a complete English lesson. So sit back and enjoy. Let's start by having a look at the World Obesity Ranking. Now, the question is just how bad is this problem? Is it something that is global? Is it exclusive to the UK? It's not exclusive to the UK. This is the World Obesity website. It's got listings of all the countries, well, most of the countries in the world. I think there's 200 in total. And it lists the different countries according to their amount of obesity or overweight people that they have. And on the map here, here's the UK, and it puts us at 77th. Amongst adults, we're 77th, which is out of 200. So actually, we don't have that big a problem compared to many other countries. American Samoa has got the biggest obesity problem. And then Tonga, various other smaller countries. The United States is 19th. Saudi Arabia are just below them. And the UK, we're in 77th. Right at the very bottom, who is the healthiest according to this is Vietnam. Vietnam's the healthiest. But if you're interested, have a look at the website. It's very interesting. You can go on the site, you can click on your country, and it will tell you what is the obesity ranking of that country. The only slight problem is that some of the data on here is a little bit old. It's a few years old, but it probably gives you a rough idea about where you are as a nation. Anyway, what is the polite way to talk about this? Because as I said, you don't want to give offense. Let's have a look at a bit of vocabulary. Vocabulary. Okay, so we're looking at vocabulary, polite versus rude. You can see that I've put a number of different adjectives on the screen here, which are different ways, different words that we have to describe people who are of a larger build. So what I'd like you to do is you can pause the video if you'd like to, and I'd like you to put each of these words into which you think is the correct column. So it's polite, neutral, or rude. If you think that these words are polite ways to say it, put it in the polite column. If you think that they're rude, in the rude column, and the rest are going to be in the middle. Okay, so pause the video if you'd like to, and then when you're ready, start it up again, and we'll have a look. We'll decide which ones we think are the correct words to use in this context. Okay, so these are the ones I would say are polite. To describe somebody as heavy built, or plus sized, or ample, or curvy, or stocky. If you use those, I think you're probably going to be okay. I mean, the rule generally is you shouldn't talk about somebody's weight at all. Certainly not to their face. It's not in this country, in the UK, it's not considered to be polite to do that. But if you do need to, for example, maybe, I don't know, you're talking to somebody else and you're asking about somebody that you know, maybe you've witnessed something like a crime and you're describing a person to the police. You want to find the correct word to describe them. You might say they're a heavy built person, plus size, ample, for example. Some of these are slightly gender specific. You're probably more likely to use curvy about female rather than a male. And stocky is probably going to be more male than female, I would say. Neutral, chubby, overweight, on the large side, big. None of them are especially polite, but they're not as bad as they could be. They're kind of, they're getting the point across here. To say someone is overweight or on the large side or big, you might say he's a big guy, she's a big girl, and we would kind of know what you mean by that. The rude ones would be fat, massive, obese. You don't really want to be saying that about anybody. That's going to be causing offense, which I'm sure you don't want to do. Obese is actually a medical term because we refer to obesity and the adjective would be obese. But if you did describe somebody as obese, it sounds a little bit too strong, a bit too extreme. So you probably should avoid that. We would not recommend doing that. Okay. So hopefully this is useful vocabulary for you if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're talking about this. Okay. What's next? Today's hot topic. Okay, so here's some questions on the text. Same thing, pause the video, take as long as you like, there's no rush. Have a go at answering the questions. When you're ready, start it up again, and we'll have a look through them together. Okay, question 1. It asks, what percentage of adults in England are overweight or living with obesity? This is in the first introductory paragraph. It says 64.5%, which you'll notice is a little bit of a different figure to what we had on the website, the World Obesity Chart, because I think the statistics have changed from one year to another. But it was around the same level. Next question, name 2 health problems that can be caused by being overweight. This is in the second paragraph. It says diabetes and heart disease. Question 3, how does obesity affect the NHS, the National Health Service? It says treating obesity costs the NHS billions of pounds every year. Question 4, which group besides adults is at high risk of obesity? The answer is children in primary school. We'll talk a bit more about this when we look at the video, when we're looking at possible solutions to the problem. Number 5, it says, give 1 action the government plans to take to reduce obesity. You have a few options here. These are the ones in the bullet points at the bottom of the text. Banning junk food adverts before 9 o'clock, adding calorie information to menus, and offering weight loss injections on the NHS. I think that these things are already starting to happen, thankfully, which is something that we're going to be looking at as we move conveniently on to the next bit, which is the listing.
Paul and Angela are now far from obese. Since starting weekly injections of a drug called Mounjaro, they have lost several stone.
I think this is the last dose on this one.
Paul is no longer on the cusp of needing diabetes medication, and the agonising abdominal cramps Angela had suffered several times a week as the extra pounds tugged at scar tissue from previous stomach surgery have all but ceased. But the transformation in their health has cost them around £300 a month because the NHS wouldn't fund them.
It was very frustrating to be told No, and especially from the medical professionals, come and live in my shoes and see how it affects me, and then tell me I'm not worth the money investing in.
If we can stay healthy for longer, and it's our weight that dictates how healthy we are, then it's definitely worth it.
Many others are making the same calculation. This online pharmacy had to build a walk-in fridge just for weight loss jabs, but this stock will last only a few days. They prescribe to 400 patients an hour.
The narrative has really shifted in the last few months. People are recognising obesity as a lifelong chronic condition. I think people are really changing their attitudes towards it, and I expect that from next year onwards we're going to see another huge surge in growth.
According to the pharmacy, 500,000 patients in the UK are currently using Mounjaro or Wegovy privately, losing on average enough weight over 6 months to no longer be classed as obese. On current trends, that means by the end of next year, 1.5 million adults will have reversed their obesity.
Tantalisingly, we could be at peak obesity in Britain. So many people are now taking effective weight loss drugs that rates could soon begin to decline.
That's despite the slow rollout on the NHS. Sarah is a patient representative advising NICE, the NHS cost effectiveness watchdog. It's recommended much wider access to the jabs, but that would need ring-fenced money from the government.
What concerns me is that we're going to have this tiered approach of like the wealthy can be healthy, but actually, the people that really need it can't. It's not the NHS's fault that they can't suddenly fund these drugs. They can't take it from cancer and say, okay, we'll put it into obesity, and this is the problem.
Angela's just had good news. Her abdominal pain is so much better because of the jabs that the NHS has agreed to pick up the tab. But for most people with obesity, access to effective treatment is still based on the ability to pay. Thomas Moore, Sky News in Dumfries, Scotland. Paul and Angela are now far from obese. Since starting weekly injections of a drug called Mounjaro, they have lost several stone.
I think this is the last dose on this one.
Paul is no longer on the cusp of needing diabetes medication, and the agonising abdominal cramps Angela had suffered several times a week as the extra pounds tugged at scar tissue from previous stomach surgery have all but ceased. But the transformation in their health has cost them around £300 a month because the NHS wouldn't fund them.
It was very frustrating to be told no, and especially from the medical professionals, come and live in my shoes and see how it affects me, and then tell me I'm not worth the money investing in.
If we can stay healthy for longer, and it's our weight that dictates how healthy we are, then it's definitely worth it.
Many others are making the same calculation. This online pharmacy had to build a walk-in fridge just for weight loss jabs, but this stock will last only a few days. They prescribe to 400 patients an hour.
The narrative has really shifted in the last few months. People are recognising obesity as a lifelong chronic condition. I think people are really changing their attitudes towards it, and I expect that from next year onwards we're going to see another huge surge in growth.
According to the pharmacy, 500,000 patients in the UK are currently using Mounjaro or Wegovy privately, losing on average enough weight over 6 months to no longer be classed as obese. On current trends, that means by the end of next year, 1.5 million adults will have reversed their obesity.
Tantalisingly, we could be at peak obesity in Britain. So many people are now taking effective weight loss drugs that rates could soon begin to decline.
That's despite the slow rollout on the NHS. Sarah is a patient representative advising NICE, the NHS cost effectiveness watchdog. It's recommended much wider access to the jabs, but that would need ring-fenced money from the government.
What concerns me is that we're going to have this tiered approach of like the wealthy can be healthy, but actually, the people that really need it can't. It's not the NHS's fault that they can't suddenly fund these drugs. They can't take it from cancer and say, okay, we'll put it into obesity, and this is the problem.
Angela's just had good news. Her abdominal pain is so much better because of the jabs that the NHS has agreed to pick up the tab. But for most people with obesity, access to effective treatment is still based on the ability to pay. Thomas Moore, Sky News in Dumfries, Scotland.
Okay, so let's have a look at the answers. First one, it says, how much weight have Paul and Angela lost since taking Mounjaro? They didn't actually tell us the full amount. They just said several stone. How much does it cost them in money? £300 per month, they said. What did the online pharmacy have to build to meet demand? They said a walk-in fridge. The large room that they were in with all of the medication was actually a walk-in fridge. Question 4 was, how many patients do they supply to? 400 an hour. Can you imagine? This is a huge business concern. So how many people in the UK are using these drugs? 500,000. Can you imagine? And it's a huge growing business. How many adults will have reversed their obesity by the end of the year? 1.5 million. Can you imagine? £300 per month, 1.5 million. You just need to do the maths. This is massive. And the final question was, does Sarah think insufficient funding is the NHS's fault? She said no, because they have so many other areas that they also have to consider. So it wasn't the NHS's fault. But at least it means there's some hope. I mean, all the problems that we've had in this country for years with weight issues, maybe this is the solution. Who knows? Let's hope so. Okay. Here's the grammar bit. It's the grammar bit. The grammar bits. A little bit of grammar that we're going to do every lesson. And today we're looking at because and so. These two words are often misused because they can get in the way of each other. Let's have a look in a little bit of clarity about when to actually use them. So we use because and so to explain why something happens and what the result is. And this grammar is very common when we're talking about health problems or lifestyle. We've encountered it already several times in this lesson, so that's why we're looking at this particular one. Let's have a look at the meaning. Because gives the reason, the cause for something, whereas so gives the result. Let me give you some examples. Obesity is increasing because people eat too much processed food. It's the cause. People eat too much processed food, so obesity is increasing. It's the result. It's slightly different. Okay. So the form of them, how we create them. Creating a sentence with because, we have the cause, and then because, and then the reason. So children are overweight because they eat too much junk food. Let's contrast that with so. Still the structure is the same. Cause plus so plus result. Junk food is cheap, so people buy it more often. Notice also with so that we're using a comma before, not with because, but just with so. So you've got the clause, comma, and then so, and then whatever it is. And it's recommended that you don't use because and so together in the same sentence. It can make it a very confusing sentence otherwise. Use one or the other. Right, over to you. Here are 4 sentences. They're missing a because or a so. I'd like you to have a look through them. Pause the video if you need to. Decide which is it for each one, and then we'll look at the answers together when you're ready. Okay, the first one. Obesity is a problem. Cause blank. It causes health problems. Because it causes health problems. It's a problem because. Why is it a problem? Because it causes health problems. Number 2, junk food is cheap, so many people buy it. It's the reason. It's the reason. And don't forget the comma before the so. Question 3, children eat junk food. Why? Because they see it in TV adverts. And the last one, the NHS spends billions on obesity. It's a reason. So the government can make people healthier. Okay. So because and so. Hope that's a bit of a useful little grammar point for you. We've done some grammar. Natural thing to do next is a bit of writing. Okay, here's a bit of writing for you. So we've read articles, we've looked at a lot of vocabulary and grammar, all about talking about obesity and health in the UK. What I would like you to do to apply your learning from today's lesson is to write a short paragraph, 70 to 100 words, thereabouts, and just to talk about why you think obesity is a problem in the UK. You can give a couple of reasons why people become overweight, and then talk about what the government is doing about it. Write in full sentences. Make sure you use your own ideas as well as the things we've looked at in the lesson today. And when you've done the work, if you want to get it checked, you'd be very welcome to book a tutorial. You can go onto the ESOL online website. It's below, just below here. And information is there about booking a tutorial. We can check your writing for you. See how you're getting on. That's the point of the lessons, is so we can check your progress, see how you're doing. Okay, so I think that's it. Hope it's been a useful lesson for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Regular real English lessons like this one on Daily ESOL channel every week, so make sure that you subscribe. Please engage, please send me messages, let me know what you think about the lesson we've talked about today, what words, what vocabulary you would use if you had to describe somebody, how you think that the obesity situation compares with your own country, for example. And if you want to tell me suggestions for other things you'd like me to cover in these lessons, just please let me know. It's for you. They're your lessons. Let me know what you want. I'd be more than happy to respond. But that's it for today. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.